Howdy everyone, and welcome back to The More You Grow. We're right here at the end of summer, and all the summer crops are starting to kind of come to the end. The tomatoes especially have lived out their lives. They're not producing anymore, and they're just kind of worn out. At this point, myself as well as most people just go ahead and pull those out of the ground. They take the tomato cages, put them in the garage, and then they have to stumble over them all winter long because they're in the way. But let me show you. But I have another solution that you can do to keep these tomato cages in use and not in your way this fall. So let me show you a really cool trick you can do for a fall garden using your tomato cages. So let's go check it out. Alright guys, I've got all my tomato cages here, and these are just the cheap ones that you get from like any kind of lawn and garden center. They don't last that long, but they work okay for a short amount of time. I prefer to make my own tomato cages, but sometimes you don't have that time or luxury. So what I've got here, and what most people think, is when your tomatoes are done, you pull up your tomato cages and they sit around your yard or wherever for all winter long until next spring. Well guys, these can be more than tomato cages. Really what a tomato cage is a trellis. It just trellises up your tomatoes. So we think of these as just for tomatoes, but let me tell you something else you can do. So instead of pulling these things up in the end of summer or the beginning of fall, leave them in your garden and use them as trellises for other plants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these to grow some sugar snap peas. So these sugar snap peas, they just need something to climb up. Most people don't have fences to put them on in their garden. You can use panels if you want. But what most people do have is lots of tomato cages. And about the time when the tomatoes are done is time to plant your peas for the cool season part of the year, for in the fall time. So all we're gonna do, I like to put a pea for every leg of the trellis. So there's 3 legs on this. So I'll put 3 on each trellis. That's going to give me 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 pea plants. And if you've ever grown peas, you'll know it does not take a lot to get a big mess of peas. So another major benefit of planting peas onto these tomato cages is not only are we going to get a fall crop and use from these tomato cages for an extended period of time, we're also going to replenish the soil in that area as well. Peas are a legume, and that is a nitrogen fixing crop. For those who don't know, legumes are able to form a symbiotic relationship with bacteria called rhizobia. They are a microbe that is able to take nitrogen from the air and convert it to nitrogen that is plant available. So they form a relationship on the roots with those nitrogen fixing crops, those legumes. If you want to see more about that, talk a lot about that in my cover crop video. So when we plant these seeds, or we plant these peas around the trellises, it's going to add nitrogen back to the area in which those tomatoes were growing. So that's going to be another big benefit of planting some peas onto your tomato cages this fall. So there's different kinds of peas you can plant, guys. You can plant sugar snap peas like I have here. You can plant snow peas. Any of the cool season peas should grow really well on any of these. So if you have the chance, if you remember ahead of time, unlike me, that you're going to do this today, I recommend soaking your seeds for at least overnight, so like 12 hours or so. That's going to give them a head start. But if you do not have time to do that, or you forgot like me, you can plant them just as they are. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to put 1 seed per leg of the trellis. So we're going to come down here and we're just going to go down about 1-2 inches, and we're going to put one of our seeds at the base of each leg. That'll give it a chance when it comes up. It'll have its own kind of area of the trellis to go up from, and it'll eventually branch out into the trellis itself. So it'll fill these in really nicely. So we'll just go through. We're going to put one at the base of each of these legs, and at that point, all you're going to need to do is just kind of water them in and let them grow. So there you go, guys. I just wanted to show you in a quick video how you can extend the resources in your garden, extend the time of your garden, and how just to be creative to really boost that production in a garden, because some people don't have that big of a garden, but even in a small space you can get a lot of food and resources from a small space. So I wanted to show you just how a healthy garden can look in the end. I want to show you this. This is my zucchini plants. They are absolutely huge. I think this is 2 plants that have like grown together. But look at these leaves, guys. They're bigger than my hand. They're bigger than my head. And that just comes down to good rainwater that we've been blessed with, and good compost is the #1 thing. Compost does one thing more than fertilizer ever could do. Fertilizer gives you instant nutrients, while compost will give you long-term nutrients, but it also gives you microbial life. Without those microbes in the soil, none of this can be converted into plant use. So by adding in that good compost, you're really just adding life into your garden, and you get life in return. So if you like this video, guys, be sure to hit that like button. If you have any more questions on how you can use tomato cages or how you can extend the garden in the fall, leave it down in the comments. I'd be happy to try to help you with that, and I might make a whole new video on it. Because I still need to plan out the rest of the fall garden, I plan to make a video showing you the rest of the stuff I'm going to be planting, give you some updates on the garden because there's some new things around me that you might be seeing. I'll make a video on that for next week. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Go check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to see what's happening with the animals, go check us out on our farm channel, King Cross Farms. And you'll get to see what's happening there. And until next time, I hope you'll join me right here on The More You Grow.